Often the Brits are picking up the fully auto Argentine versions and using them. They like this. They like the full auto capability. All soldiers like full auto capability. But simply, the FN's drawback is it's not good on fully automatic. It is utterly uncontrollable. It is such a big caliber that the weapon just goes all over the place. Up into the sky.
Despite its deficiencies, the FAL has proliferated, from the armies of the free world to the war zones of Africa and the Middle East. With over half a century of combat under its belt, the FN-FAL scores well for service length. Innovation and combat effectiveness are also good, but handling and accuracy are average, making this Belgian big shot number 5. At number 4, it's an American legend.
M1 Garand. Type, semi-automatic rifle. Country of origin, United States. Caliber, .30-06. Cartridge capacity, 8 rounds. Muzzle velocity, approximately 2,838 feet per second. Rate of fire, 30 rounds per minute.
The Garand has become an icon of the greatest generation of Americans. It's the rifle that won World War II.
The M1 was the first semi-automatic rifle issued as the standard small arm of the U.S. Army. It was designed by Canadian engineer John Cantius Garand. A true maverick, he built the machines that tooled his weapons.
John Garand is working for Springfield Arsenal and comes up with this idea of a semi-automatic weapon. And by about 1932, they've hit on a workable design.
The M1 was adopted in 1936 by the U.S. Army. 5 years later, hundreds of thousands of American soldiers were heading into battle with an M1 slung over their shoulder. In all theaters, it proved an uncompromising performer.
The M1 Garand is a tough, heavy battle rifle. And it is the Cadillac of semi-automatic firearms. When you fire an M1 Garand, you have some authority in your shoulder.
It allows you to come around that corner or burst in that door or cross that street and have at your fingertips 8 rounds to influence the battle without having to break your point of aim and reload. You've got 8 rounds to deal with the enemy. He's got 1.
Throughout the Second World War, the M1 defended the thin red line, often proving the difference between victory and defeat.
The M1 rifle was the first successful semi-automatic battle rifle issued in any quantity that was rugged enough, accurate enough to dominate the battlefield. It worked in the Pacific, in sandy conditions. It worked well in the jungles. It was used in North Africa, Sicily, Italy, and across France all the way into Germany.
But the Garand did have an Achilles heel. Its 8-round clip made a distinctive sound when ejected, a feature that cost many GIs their lives.
When you fire that last round, the clip automatically ejects with a really audible pinging sound. And everybody and their brother knows that you're empty.
But GIs soon turned the dreaded ping to their advantage.
One of the common tricks was to load with a full clip, take an empty clip, and throw it down on the ground, because that's the sound it makes. And when the other guy would stick his head up, you shoot him.
But despite its limitations, the Garand continued to see service. M1s were still being used in the Vietnam War in 1963, even though it had been officially replaced by the M14 rifle. When the Garand was finally put to bed, over 6.25 million had been manufactured.
General George S. Patton at the end of World War II stated that it was perhaps the greatest battle implement ever devised. That's quite a bit to say about a foot soldier's rifle, where you've got atomic bombs and you've got 4-engine bombers and parachute divisions and artillery and everything.
The Garand scores high in innovation and combat effectiveness. Handling and accuracy are good, but service length is average, leaving the M1 at number 4 in our list. Before we see the top 3 best of the best, it's time to have a quick look at a few of the best of the rest. The firearms that just missed the cut of making our top 10 combat rifles. Nicknamed the Bugle because of its unusual shape, the Giat FAMAS is the standard combat rifle of the French Army. Another weapon that misses our list is the Mosin Nagant, Russia's combat rifle from 1891 until the 1960s. The British L85A2 also misses out. In its earliest versions, it was a disaster, but recent modifications have made it a formidable opponent. A good weapon, but not good enough to make our list. Coming in at number 3 is one of the most accurate and famous combat rifles of all time.
Lee Enfield SMLE. Type, bolt-action rifle. Country of origin, United Kingdom. Caliber, .303 Enfield. Cartridge capacity, 10 rounds. Muzzle velocity, approximately 2,438 feet per second. Rate of fire, 15 to 20 rounds per minute.
The average British Tommy loved his rifle because he knew no other. The short magazine Lee Enfield was the first rifle ever put in his hands. It was his defense against the world. Soldiers of Empire used that rifle to take everything from elephant to leopard to German colonel.
The Lee Enfield SMLE built its reputation on reliability, accuracy, and a phenomenal rate of fire. Its magazine carried 10 bullets, the largest capacity of any rifle on the battlefield. Its short bolt action cocked on closing, and its muzzle cap prevented dirt from clogging the weapon. It saw the British Army through 2 world wars and numerous conflicts. But incredibly, the Lee Enfield story almost ended before it began.
The Enfield SMLE almost didn't exist because of the Boer War, because of the Mauser. When the British fought the South African Boers, who are equipped with German Mausers in 1900, they were shot to pieces by these wily Dutch farmers with their German rifles. And, like soldiers everywhere, they thought, I gotta have one of those.
The British began developing a Mauser pattern rifle to replace the Enfield, but then fate intervened. World War I began. There was no time to put a new weapon into production. The Lee Enfield got a second chance, and it never looked back.
If I were in World War I, the Lee Enfield would probably be the weapon that I would want. It's a very, very smooth operating bolt-action rifle, and you can get off a lot of rounds real quick.
At the Battle of Mons in 1914, 12,000 British soldiers equipped with Lee Enfield rifles came up against a German force that outgunned them 3-1. When fire was opened, the slaughter was immediate and horrific. Within minutes, whole German battalions were wiped out.
The British trained soldier could do what was called the Mad Minute. 30 rounds aimed at a target 200 meters distance in 1 minute, and many soldiers could do more than that. When used by a trained soldier, the volume of fire you can put out of a Lee Enfield rifle rivals that of many modern automatic weapons.
The Great War came to an end, but the SMLE didn't. From Africa to India, it patrolled Britain's empire. And then, in 1939, it was called into action again, defending the world against Hitler's Germany.
While it was called the Rifle No. 4 Mark I, it was essentially still the SMLE, the same magazine, the same bolt, and the same stripper clip feed. It was very rugged, and it was very good for use throughout the world, from the deserts of North Africa to the jungles of New Guinea, Normandy, and through into Germany.
Battle-tested like no other weapon, the Lee Enfield SMLE continued in service. The Korean War, the Suez Crisis. When it was finally replaced, 17 million SMLEs had been produced worldwide.
The British Empire spanned the world while that rifle was in service. It was the final rifle of empire. It served on every continent under every circumstance, and it has seen such long service and affected the ebb and flow of 20th century politics so